So the SPORE programs are part of the NCI's clinical trials and clinical research program, translational research. It actually stands for a specialized program of research excellence, and they've been set up in all of the major disease categories. In lymphoma, there are usually 4 or 5 of them in the nation, and we were fortunate several years ago to be awarded that grant. Each of the requirements of the SPORE that are critical is that you match up a laboratory investigator with a clinical investigator, and during the time of the grant that you make enough progress to move things from the laboratory into the clinic. And that's the essence of the program. We're really a consortium SPORE. Many of the programs are here at the University of Rochester, but we have long-term collaborators at the Arizona Cancer Center and at the Massey Cancer Center, which is in Richmond, Virginia. In each case, we've paired different people, either in the laboratory or clinical, with some of our people, and the programs and the cores, which support them, work together as one unit to create this kind of a program. The grant provided about $11.5 million over 5 years, which is probably the biggest grant that this cancer center has ever had, at least recently. And so it provides much needed support for the laboratory work. There are 4 cores that support each of the programs. There are actually 4 different programs in the SPORE and 4 cores. The cores include an administrative core, which runs the organization, a pathology core, a clinical trials core, and a biostatistics core. And each of those cores is actually here with a counterpart at one of our partner institutions. So there's support for the personnel to do that. The research has moved forward fast enough that we now are about to embark on several clinical trials, have completed 1, and are going into 2 or 3 others that are really products of our own laboratory investigation. The research, by definition, coming immediately out of the laboratory is early clinical research. It's called phase 1 or phase 2. We don't do the bigger, larger trials comparing new therapies to standard therapy. That we would move into a national cooperative group, such as what we call SWOG, of which I lead the lymphoma committee. So we have a national conduit from our earlier studies in the SPORE to move up to the cooperative group in SWOG. So these early studies give our patients who have had relapsed disease or refractory disease that hasn't responded to standard therapy an option for new kinds of treatments. And they're only available, because the drugs aren't approved yet, in a protocol basis here at one of our centers. So our patients really get a chance to go on therapies that aren't available anywhere else in the country and that offer them hope, and potentially we've already seen responses in some of the trials we've used. So those patients have clearly benefited as well.